highlights. There weren't a lot, thanks to Fox on that one. Michael Wilson with that 18-yard touchdown, which made the score 24-6, and then of course the extra point 24-7. Frank Sanders, who I think has got a couple quarters left in him. I think this Cardinal team could use some help there, Frank. They need some receivers. What can you do? Can you get out there?
I can definitely get out there, but I'm pretty sure that with these 51-year-old legs, man, it's going to be me, you, and Jimmy B on the sideline holding oxygen masks pretty fast.
You're right. Absolutely right.
So, Frank, you and I were sitting there texting. It got to about, 45 to zip at halftime or something like that. I didn't realize you could book a tee time like at about, 11 o'clock and then go get on the track like that.
Man, I could not. Look, I'm a Cardinal fan at heart. I want to see the guys do well. I live in the state, a former player, and it just did not start the way I was anticipating. I immediately, like you said, I text Manouche like, hey, I'm going to play golf, man. I can't watch this no more. I want to play golf. So I booked the tee time, and we was talking about 11:15, 11:20, and next thing you know, I had a tee time at 12 o'clock at the Arizona Grand, and it turned out to be pretty good.
Hey, Frank.
So you're really not a big football fan if you're going to do that. I mean, that's embarrassing. I mean, here you are, a Cardinal ambassador, just coming on radio, and you're letting the world know that you didn't watch him. Come on, dude. I mean, you better rethink that.
He didn't want to get sick watching it, Rock. Yeah. That was the problem.
You got to tell me you watched the YouTube version later or what?
No, I definitely watched the YouTube version. I watched every highlight and reel that continually did not display a good football team on the football field on Sunday. First half was really challenging. Guys came out really sluggish and lethargic. It didn't look good at all. And everything that Green Bay wanted to do, they was able to accomplish. They looked like a team that had been together for 2 or 3 years. And Jordan Love looked pretty excellent in his display as a quarterback coming back from a knee injury a couple of weeks ago. So, but looking at my Cardinals and what I saw them go do versus the San Francisco 49ers, and then watch them fly across the United States to Green Bay and look like that the first half, it just wasn't good. And so, being honest, man, sometimes you just can't stomach some things that when you watch, when you have high expectations, and then you realize that it's not manifesting the way you want it. Here's the beauty of the Cardinals. What I was expecting, Rock, was if I turned the TV off, maybe good luck would happen. And then the second half, they would turn out to be pretty exciting.
All right, Frank.
I love that.
That is great. It's Frank Michael Jackson Sanders.
Yes, moonwalking. Frank, let me just follow up then with what you just talked about. In your estimation, why is it then were they just so elated that they had beaten the 49ers in the Bay Area and they just were still partying? Or in your estimation, why the hell couldn't they put together a decent quarter here and there against Green Bay?
Yeah, no, these guys are professional, man. And I think you're looking at a very mature Kyler Murray now. You can listen to how he takes ownership of a lot of stuff, and even when it's not his stuff, he's taking ownership of it. The team has guys and playmakers, and they believe they have a really good team, with what they put together. I don't think there was a hangover effect. I do think that Green Bay realized that the Cardinals, if they can go to San Fran and beat San Fran, if we're not careful, they're going to come here and spank us up pretty good to itself. And I think they came ready to play. I mean, that's just something when we watch Washington walk in here. And I don't know if it's the Cliff Kingsbury effect or the Jaden Daniels. I want to prove that, I'm better than Kyler Murray. They came out, Washington came out, and they came ready to play. And, that's been something that hasn't been good. The Cardinals' record over the last couple of weeks have been that they've been able to go out and score, Rock, like you said before. They've been able to, put points on the board the first 12 plays, and it's been pretty exciting. But something happened, man, when it came to Green Bay, and I don't know if it was the time zone or if it was the weather when it was raining. You're taking a team that doesn't play in the rain to go out and, go back east and play in the rain, or the time zone change could be something. Look, I'm a former player. I know it affects guys differently. Sleeping habits, traveling, those things do affect teams, but that display right there that's really unexcusable, and I'm pretty sure none of the guys in the locker room would make an excuse for that first half.
Frank, I think even Jonathan Gannon was caught off guard. His comments after the game were he was perplexed. To your point, these are pros. You overcome this, you overcome that. So my question for you, Frank, is that the next step for this team and this regime to be able to put back-to-back games together versus opponents that you could not match because of what you just said. You know, Green Bay wanted to go ahead and come out physically because they had something to prove. So is that the next step for this team? Be able to put back-to-back wins?
Absolutely. I mean, not just back-to-back wins, but the way you win. Even if you lose, if we went and fought, and it had been punch after punch after punch after punch, and you would have saw that at the beginning of the round, at the beginning of the quarter, then you'd have been like, oh, we're here to fight. We're here to play. That would have been a beautiful thing. But that first half, just the first quarters and the first couple of series looked really, really bad, and they looked really lethargic. And Green Bay looked like they were fresh, like they had been on, a two-week bye vacation, and it just looked like they were really good. So there's so much more growth for this team, and it's not just winning week after week. It's it's the process of how you lose and how you win, and watching this team come together, watching how the offense coordinator makes adjustments every week versus the new opponent. When you go into second half, how do you guys come out the second half and make those adjustments? That's offensively and defensively. And we really didn't see much of that. There were some adjustments, and so it made it kind of exciting on the second half of the game. But Green Bay just did not stop. They kept playing, and then we started making mistakes. The most penalized game we've ever seen. Why? It doesn't make sense when you go to San Fran versus a defense that is absolutely atrocious for what they do with the front four, and you hold them just to one sack. You go there and you go against Green Bay, and next thing you know, you act like you don't know what a whistle looks like, you don't know what a hut looks like, or
yes.
a cadence sound looks like. So it's unexplainable, and everything you saw to the reaction of the guys is absolutely. They look like they was all, they had no answers for what was the display on the field, and that's the unfortunate side. Hopefully this week versus the Chargers, they'll rebound and they'll get their minds right, and then it turned out to be something good for the Cardinals.
Frank Sanders is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Frank, let me follow up because it is on display Monday night, nationally televised game against a team in the Chargers that are playing very well. And even in the shellacking that they put on the Denver Broncos, they didn't have their best defensive player, which was Joey Bosa. They expect to have him back, and they run the football. How are the Cardinals going to slow down Dobbins and that running game?
Well, I'm hoping that, when we come out ready to fight, let's just back up real quick, Jimmy B. On national televised, this will go one or two ways. And the other way is not really good. If you go out there and get shellacked, it's just not a good look. So they got to come ready to play. They got to come mentally ready to play, physically ready to play. They got to stop the running game. They got to go do whatever they got to do. They got to go do it because, not just one game matters, but it matters to the fan base. It matters to, the momentum that you want to carry going as the season continues to progress. There's a lot of hope and desire for this team, considering that Mike went out and got new offensive coordinators, new defense coordinators. They went out and got some players in the draft that we had some, some good picks in the draft that we were hoping these guys to kind of come out and show up. So this could go either way, but the way that the guys come out and play Monday night, they have to come out with something to prove, really, and really with the intent to, take it to this team and walk away with a victory the way that the Cardinals need to, the same way they did versus San Fran. Whatever it takes, your name is at stake right now, and I'm pretty sure all the guys will have to take that under major considerations. Real quick, Manucci, one of the things the guy said in the locker room was that every man has to go look himself in the mirror now.
Yep,
and when you start having those questions, when you start making those statements in the media after a game, that is a very serious moment right now, because now that tells me that somebody on the field, the guys that's on the field, can look around and see if guys are all in. And that is a very scary situation right now for that locker room. That's just me, and I know it because I've been on a lot of losing teams. When you start talking about guys, you got to go look yourself in the mirror. That means, are you coming to work? Are you really putting the work in? Are you shorting the work? Are you out having a good time? Like Jimmy B asked earlier, but that's the part where it becomes something where are you going to give in or are you going to fight? And I'm hoping that this team comes out and want to fight.
Frank, this is Rock. I've been in the locker room too. Why'd you have to just point it to Manucci? Manucci, locker room. I've been in a locker room.
But
it's not a big deal.
I had a uniform on.
I did too. I wore a collar shirt with shorts. When I was with the Colts. When I was with the Cardinals.
He was passing.
I worked 6 Super Bowls.
He was passing that towels, Frank. That's what he was doing.
No, no, not at all. So
Frank?
come on, a little respect there, Frank.
Hey, Rock, I know you've been in locker rooms, Rock, but the locker rooms you've been in, man, with the kegs that's been on keg stands and bottles of 99 bottles of beers on the wall. And
that's so
it's
true.
just not the same locker room.
Oh,
Not the same locker room.
Frank, good stuff. We love you, man. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for the time as always, buddy.
All right, brother. Love you guys, man.
All right.
Have a good one.
Frank Sanders joining us here on Rock Manooch with Jimmy B from the Trophy Bar in downtown Ocotillo as we continue on here on Fox Sports.